minute, last I think after 5:30, it was due to connection problem. It was disconnected.
Acha,
Yes, sir. Today I'm interested to join again, so I have login at 1:30 exactly.
So good.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Shubhoshmita. Shubhoshmita Parida. Jagriti. People have joined and then gone for lunch possibly. Nurjahan.
Surajit.
Piyush Ojha. Surajit. জয়েন করে সবাই লাঞ্চে চলে গেল।
Hello.
Yes, Surajit.
Yes, sir.
So you
Yes,
are
sir.
from NIT
Sir,
Sikkim
I have
only.
Yes, sir. Actually, one student called me, so that's why I was attending that call. Sorry for the delay, sir.
No, it's all right. So was it useful or
Actually, sir, yesterday I could not attend your session due to a
you
class.
could not attend?
So
Okay,
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Then Nurjahan Khatun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
No, you are here. That's fine. But then what about your feedback from yesterday's talk? Did you join?
I think yesterday we started on a very good footage, sir. You're trying to, yeah, it was good session going on. But then the moment I think very crucial things were coming, I think the connection was lost. So we could not get to hear what you had to say, sir. Very crucial things. So today I think you'll be able to give us more on whatever was
the
left
connectivity. Yeah, yesterday connectivity problem was from my end also, because here my broadband is not working all the time. Frequently. Okay. So Ajit, thank you, Jan. Ajit.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Ajit. Jagriti.
Yes, sir.
So was it okay yesterday or no?
Yes, sir.
Did you attend?
Hello. Yes, sir. I have attended yesterday's session.
You are from NIT Sikkim?
No, sir.
Okay. So Shubhoshmita. Piyush Ojha. Ajit Karki.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Subhashmita Parida.
Yeah.
Hello.
So did you attend yesterday's talk or?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, I mean,
Attended. It was quite helpful.
you all know that
Knowledgeable.
the most important thing in any system is your feedback. Because no system will be stable if there is no feedback. I wanted the feedback from you that how was it and whether it was useful and all.
Yes, sir. I was not able to unmute myself. That's why I was delayed to respond to you.
Okay. Ranjan, should we start now?
Yes, sir. Now you can start. So we are also here, 10 faculty members at the institute's conference room. So you can start, and they are also joining. So after lunch, I think.
Okay.
So you can start, sir.
Okay, then let me because not much time is there. There are other sessions as well.
Yes, yes.
So, well, let me in. Is it okay or?
Sir, it is to be full screen, sir, in presentation mode. It is not in the presentation mode, sir.
Acha. Yeah, now let us now, I mean, since time is less, is it okay?
Sir,
Now
it is okay, sir.
Okay. Now let's come straight to, one of the very important points of this new education policy. It's on professional education, with which we all are involved with. Now, this professional education, it starts with preparation of professionals must involve an education in the ethics and importance of public purpose, an education in the discipline and an education for practice. Now, you can just see that professional education becomes an integral part of the overall higher education system. Like say, they have talked about standalone agriculture universities, legal universities, health science universities, technical universities, and standalone institutes in other fields shall aim to become multidisciplinary. Because as I said that almost in every page this term multidisciplinary has come. That they shall aim to become multidisciplinary institutes offering holistic and multidisciplinary education. Now this is again another big problem of this particular, this policy. For example, a legal university, they are dealing with the laws. So if the legal university starts giving multidisciplinary means, in the previous section, they have said that this technical education should be there everywhere. So legal universities now, if they start giving on literature, on art, on social science, on technology, then when the students will learn about the legal matters. Similarly, health science universities. Today, everything is moving in such a way that you need to be multidisciplinary in your spirit, but not that every institution should be multidisciplinary. This is, I have got a serious objection to this particular aspect of this, of this policy. That is, why should standalone agricultural universities become multidisciplinary? I don't see that there is much of a value to this. As you can see that I have verbatim quoted whatever is written. I have not written anything on my own. So all institutions offering either professional or general education will aim to organically evolve into institutions, clusters, and they should become multidisciplinary. Anyway, so this is what. Amongst professional education, there is a particular section 20.3 that talks about agricultural education. So that should be revived. There are agricultural universities. So they comprise approximately 9% of all universities in the country, but enrollment is less than 1% of all enrollment in higher education. So there are large number of agricultural universities, as they say, but then there are not much of enrollment. So enrollment has to be increased in that case. But then this is about agriculture, legal education. So this is, they have given quite more than half a page on legal education, healthcare education. That also is extremely important. And healthcare education, healthcare science and technology. So they have mentioned about that. Now, it's not again one of the major problems with this policy is on technical education, they have not spoken much. All the IITs, NITs, everything that we talk about today, technology universities, technology is the core of everything. But then there is hardly any mention about technology education. So technical education includes degree and diploma programming in, just see, engineering, technology, management is considered to be separate. Anyways, even if I consider management, architecture, town planning, they are always considered separate from the core technical education. Pharmacy has got, in one sense, everything has got a technical component. But pharmacy does not come under the technical education sector. And worst of it, hotel management and catering technology. I had been to, when I prepared these slides, one of my PhD scholars, he had his marriage and I was almost, I'm not moving out of my home, but they forced me to join. So he came so many times, his father came. So we went for some time. And then I was just thinking that catering technology is a very important aspect of technical education. I told Rohan, do you know that this catering that they are doing? Now, how can hotel management, catering technology, by doing this, they have definitely, to a very large extent, diluted the whole concept of technological education in the country. It is sheer dilution. So I think that, there are people, everybody will say that there are good points, but then I thought that limitations should be pointed out. It is good because sometimes, those who do it, they feel that, okay, everybody would like to say it's great and all. But after reading everything in absolute detail, I found that there are lots of such, such gaps. And there will only be a greater demand for well-qualified manpower in these sectors. Now, for example, engineering technology and hotel management, catering technology, everything, pharmacy, if they are clubbed together, and then if we say that we will require well-qualified manpower in these sectors, in catering technology, anybody after, I think that class 11, class 12 can join. Now, I'm not saying that anything is bad. Catering technology, catering is also an art. But then, mixing it with engineering technology is not a very good idea, so far as the country is concerned. So industry and higher education institutions to drive innovation and research in these fields. Furthermore, influence of technology on human endeavors is expected to erode the silos between technical education and other disciplines too. So, anyway, I think this is one of the major things in professional education. Now on technical education, they have spent this much, and it is said that India must also take the lead in preparing professionals in cutting edge areas that are fast gaining prominence, such as artificial intelligence, 3D machining, big data analysis, and machine learning. in addition to genomic studies, biotechnology, nanotechnology, neuroscience. In fact, my new institute that we have started about 1.5 years back, we have got exactly these things. So I do not have anything because I personally work in these areas. But then, a technology education without manufacturing, which is the base of everything, so there is absolutely no talk about manufacturing. What about, other disciplines of engineering? It's not that only AI and big data analytics and machine learning is the engineering. That's not that true. In fact, I think that in the committee, there should have been some people from the technology area who could give much more stress on whatever is needed. For example, today in our we need advanced manufacturing technology. 3D machining is very important. But then much more than that, you have to go about the different types of, for such kinds of machining, you need the materials. So, it has all been clubbed a little bit in a hazard, in a in a way that it is not very well documented. But then the policy should give a clear-cut, direction that in which area the whole world is moving, in which we all are moving and we will be moving. So there will be applications in health, environment. Most important thing is energy, because energy is the root of everything. There was no mention of energy and sustainable living. Now, these will be woven into undergraduate education for enhancing the employability of the youth. Employability of the youth enhancement is definitely one of the major things of technical education. But the most important thing is the research in these areas so that the students can take part, or our future generation can take part in designing the things and in manufacturing as a part of our, Make in India project of the Prime Minister. So that Make in India, to have that happen, we have to give more stress on diverse other areas which there was no direction out here. Opportunity to attain, again, so on technical education, I found that there was nothing, only just these 2 points. One is this, hardly 1/3 of a page. And the other one is this, where everything has been merged together, hotel management and catering. I was going through, I didn't find anything other than that. Then came adult education and lifelong learning. As you can see that these are, I have written directly from the policy document, the 66-page document. Implementation is obviously one of the major problems. But since, time is less, I will not give much stress on many points. But let us see that implementation of the spirit and intent of the policy will be the most critical matter. This is very true. That means how do you implement the whole thing? It is important to implement the policy initiatives in a phased manner. So that is interesting, that now what is the phasing? So that in detailing when they will be doing, then the phased manner has to be highlighted. As each policy point has several steps, each of which requires the previous step to be implemented successfully. So it's not that we are starting from zero, because in the country, in almost all the IITs, whatever has been written, we have been doing it for last 20, 30 years. So I don't think that's why there's anything that is new, at least in the IITs. I mean, not the new IITs, the old IITs. But then important thing is for other institutions, I am sure that in many of the NITs also, they have been doing many of the things which have been already talked about. But then the important thing of this overall policy to be implemented Each policy point, every step must be implemented with appropriate, with appropriate caution. That is very important. Prioritization, and in ensuring optimal sequencing of policy points. So comprehensiveness in implementation will be the key, as this policy is interconnected and holistic. Again, as I said, that there are some very vague points throughout this policy document. And, it is true that interconnectedness and holistic is important, but to make that should not be the primary thing. And the real knowledge in the technology or in the knowledge domain should not be, kept as a minor one. So the major thing has to be understood properly. Since this very important point that this policy has stated, that since education is a concurrent subject, it will need careful planning, joint monitoring, and collaborative implementation between the center and the states. In my opinion, this is a very, very serious issue. As you can see that in many of the NITs, suppose the state government, they are not giving the appropriate land. And naturally, if they, like say in Goa, NIT Goa, or even in Sikkim, you are yet to get a very good piece of land. In many states, that is a real problem. I think, I not know, in Patna, wherever they are giving the space at a place which is far away from the nearest city. So anyway, but then this is very important. And then it has to be directly, the planning has to be done jointly. Remember that this is a concurrent subject, and if both the groups are not in sync, then this policy will not be successfully implemented. Timely infusion of requisite resources, human, infrastructural, and financial, both at the central and state levels, will be crucial. For example, triple ITs. We have got in the country so many triple ITs, but the major problem there is, you may not be knowing, I was the founder director of triple IT West Bengal, that is in Kalyani. And there was constant problem between the central and the state, because I was the director of many places in India. Now, the problem was, the state government may not agree to whatever the central, we got our land after a lot of time. After getting the land, then whatever we decide at the central BOG level, then the state representative will not agree to that. Because state government, they say that we also have to pay. So the third party here is the private industries. So the state governments and the central government, if they are in sync, and the private industries also take appropriate, interest in it, then only triple ITs will be successful. Otherwise, central government initially will give the money and then they will not take any charge. Now, what will be the fate of these triple ITs until unless both the governments, they take charge of these? So it was absolutely a messy thing in case of triple ITs. I do not know whether now things are changed. So careful analysis and review of the linkages between multiple parallel implementation steps will be needed. It will be necessary, that is very true. And this will also include early investment in some of the specific actions. What was happening is state says that no, we will not invest unless the central money comes. Central government says that no, how much the state has given. State says that we have already given the land, what else I should give? So land is enough. Now, this is not the way that education in the country should develop. So, and if nobody is very eager to spend the money in time, then the third party, in fact, in our case, I remember that the third party, that is the industries, they have, since I had a lot of very good contact with them, and they were paying regularly as per whatever was they had to pay. and they used to be present in all the meetings. So I don't have anything to say against them. But then the two governments, they must be in sync with each other. So that is very important. So subject-wise implementation committees of experts in cooperation and consultation with other relevant ministries will be set up. Now this is again another important thing, that how do you do the implementation committees? So I am not going to really to talk about, because it will take a lot of time, about the regulatory and how the whole things will be really taken care of. So that's a very, very important and challenging thing. And the policy, it has given lot of stress on what should be the administrative structure of this to take care of this. And for example, currently ICT, UGC, they may be merged together to form a much bigger higher education council and all. Now, the point out here is, again, it's not the question of merging something or doing, it's a question of who will be doing it and who will be selected as the regulators. Will the, academicians of the country be involved in that? So there are lots of such questions which are coming in the minds of lots of academicians. To make it a success, the policy should have very clearly stated that who will be just the regulatory bodies, how they will be selected, and what they will be, because these are very important things. That is, it is not only that I give a set of policies, but the implementation of the policies. So this is important. I am now, since time is not much, I am now straight going to the budgetary provision of this 2020-21. That means just this provision. So total allocation, I am only giving you the higher education because you may not be knowing about this. So I don't think anybody discusses about these things. So total allocation of higher education this year is rupees 39,466 crores against the last year allocation of rupees 38,317 crores. So there is an increase of about 1,149 crores as compared to last year's allocation. Now this increase is just a peanut. And next important thing, you can note that from this year's budget, a new scheme has been planned. Like say you have got TechWhip, you are getting money from TechWhip. The MHRD has started another thing, they call it as EQUIP. That is Education Quality Upgradation and Inclusion Program. So this has been envisaged by the Department of Higher Education, MHRD. Usually, the department secretaries, they enact all these things. So it is an overarching problem which sets out to deliver further on the principles of access, inclusion, quality, excellence, etc. Now, I really do not know what is meant by, what will be done by this EQUIP program. Whether the institutions will be getting the money out of it, or how this additional, you can see that an initial budgetary provision of 1,413 crores has been kept for this. So compared to 2019-20, there is an increase of 1,149 crores. But then out of that, 1,413 crores has been kept for EQUIP. And as you can see that effectively corresponding to 2019-20, the budget has been reduced by 300 crores or maybe 250 crores this year. Because 1,149, if you reduce from 13 crores, then it comes to this. Now, who will be the beneficiaries and how it will be done? EQUIP, nothing is known much. If somebody knows, I will be very happy. Further, hello? Hello? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So somebody has got any query?
No,
No,
sir,
I
it's
think.
okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
It's okay, sir.
Further, budgetary provision shall be made after appraisal and approval of the scheme. So a provision has been made to strengthen the HEFA. Now HEFA, it is by, you know that I do not know whether all NITs are taking HEFA money, that is Higher Education Funding Agency. Basically, this is a new concept that central institutions, if you want to augment your infrastructure, then you have to take the money. It is a loan without any interest. So this will come as a loan, and it will be between the bank and the institute and the MHRD. The MHRD will be only the third signatory. But then in HEFA, Higher Education Funding Agency, with that room, if you want to start some classroom, hostel, building, laboratories and all, you have to take the loan from that HEFA. 100 crores, 200 crores, 300 crores, anything that you want. But then in 10 years' time, HEFA says that you have to repay the loan to the bank because it is directly between Canara Bank and the institute. So in my institute where I was the director, I said that why should I return it? Because after all, I mean, we needed it. And the government before that, they had already agreed in IST Shipwood that they will be giving us 590 crores those days, long time back, in 2013-14. So again, now you are saying that we have to take the loan from HEFA. Why? So anyway, I do not want to go much into detail in it. But then now this has gone into the business mode where the buildings, classrooms, hostels, laboratories, etc., and equipments also, which are crucial elements of learning environments. Now those will have to be developed by taking a loan from HEFA. Towards that, the government also gives a fund, which is the government equity. And this year, that additional equity of 2,200 crores have been given so that you can take money. Provision has been made to strengthen the HEFA by infusing, that's what I am saying. And a 650 crore have been provisioned for World Bank assisted TEQUIP. So in TEQUIP, whatever money you are getting, so this has been increased by 650 crores because this money we are getting from World Bank. And this is one of the most important programs of the entire NIT and the engineering university system, or even a lot of engineering colleges, they were, highlighted by this. And it's very important that TEQUIP program, this is the third phase of TEQUIP program. It's very good to know that, okay, government, this is a very good thing that they have already given some money, 650 crores.
Hello,
That
sir.
not,
Sir,
huh?
I think your laptop battery is showing low.
Yeah, it's showing low. So now is it okay, or I have just...
Okay. Is it okay? It is okay now, sir.
Okay. So this is maybe that since 650 crores have been additionally provisioned for TEQUIP, maybe that some of you will be getting somewhat more fund this year through TEQUIP if you are eligible and all. So this is the second important point. The third important point is the allocation for interest subsidy and contribution to guaranteed fund has been maintained at rupees 1900 crores. This is for disbursal of easy and interest-free loans to students. This is an excellent idea that because after all, we are all there for the students. And then the students' subsidy, the students, they should be given as much of interest-free loans as possible. So this is one thing. Finally, as you can see that this year's budget is very important. Total allocation to the IITs is 7,300 crores, which is 14% more than the last year. So now this 7,332 crores, if you divide amongst how many IITs are there, I think 21 or 22. So if you divide amongst themselves, then they will be getting, say, approximately 300 to 350 crores. So some of the bigger IITs, our budgets will be around, say, 600 crores, 700 crores. So rest all you have to somehow manage with your own internal resources. Total allocation to the central universities has been kept at 8,657 crores, which is 12.9% more than the last year. So IITs got 14.3% more, central universities got 12.3% more. Now, again, out here, there are large number of central universities, and if you divide, it will not be quite substantial after division to each of the, because central universities are much bigger. And allocation for NITs, because many of you wanted to know about NITs, it has been kept as 3,885 crores, which is even less than half of the central universities, whatever they have been given. And this is only 2.5% more than the last year. You know, compared to the IITs and central universities, there was much more, increase compared to the last year. But for NITs, it is marginally, it has been increased. Now, I think there are 31 NITs at the moment. And if you divide it by 13, then on the average, the NITs will get about, say, 120 crores. Now, this 120, 130 crores, these are just nothing. A good institute to run its academic programs with minimum number of faculty members needed in diverse disciplines of, technology, because we are all institutes of national importance. So this is just a peanut of whatever is needed. So I do not know how the distribution amongst the NITs. Again, there are big NITs, like say NIT Trichy, Suratkal. In Northeast, I think in this NIT Shilchar has been doing quite well, and so Shilchar, so they will be getting obviously slightly more. But then the other NITs, they will be in Shipwood. I asked them, they have got only 150 crores this year. I said that how is it more than whatever I used to get when I was the director, say 3 years back. So our registrar said, sir, it has not increased. It's more or less the same. So total allocation for the regulators, on the other hand, which is UGC and AICT together, they have been maintained. There was no increase at 5,100 crores. So total allocation to the NITs is at 3,800 crores. Total allocation for the regulators who will be regulating all of you, NITs are not regulated by UGCs and AICTs. They are directly regulated by the MHRD. But then who regulate all the private institutions and others and all the universities. So they have been given, say, almost much more than the NITs or almost comparable to the IITs. So allocation for this kind of budget, until unless the budgetary allocations for the technical institutions is increased, then we cannot, really justify. Only thing is we will be having more number of students because the GER has become the major thing that the gross enrollment ratio has to be increased. And to do that, now today, for example, in IIT Kharagpur, there are classes which are 150 students in every class. There are many classes, after combined classes, they have become almost 250, 200 is the strength. So how can the teacher teach such a big class? And comparatively, the teaching faculty strength has not increased at all. So the country is now at a crossroad. The number of young people who desire to study, it has increased like anything. The country's population is increasing at an exponential rate. And at that rate, even to keep pace with the best of the universities across the world, what we need is we have to give more stress, in my opinion, and more finance to the IITs, NITs, and central universities. And this does not include, the state universities, which are much more than the central universities. Now, the policy says that there should not be any, private universities have to work as, as if they are giving sort of, they are sort of benevolently, they are giving the charity to the students. Now, this is something I really didn't understand. Some people said that they have given, extra incentive to the private universities. But then throughout the entire this document, they have written that private universities, as if they cannot do much, they should have to work in the philanthropic way. Now, why should one private, industry, they will be, starting something to really have a philanthropic thing. Will Ambani do that? I don't think that it will be philanthropic, because today, unfortunately, when we were students, even say decades back, we got our education, the highest level of education, almost entirely at the state budget. If it would have been so high fees as we have today, then I'm sure that majority of the students, those who are giving and contributing so significantly, not only in India, in America, in Europe, everywhere, the Indian students, those whom you are looking for, say, for example, even Sundar Pichai, you could not possibly have found him today. I know hundreds of our students, they could get their education. And even before that, those who got the education, vast majority, they came from simple middle class families. But our education charge was taken by the government. We hardly had any, tuition fee was so small. And that's why, we are really thankful to Bharat Mata that we got our education from school level to PhD level in IITs, almost in today's, comparison, it was almost free. And it is because of this that a large majority of the students those days, in 70s, in 80s, in 90s, in 60s, they could get the education. So this is, I did not want to go through much because yesterday I took more time. If you have got some questions, you can ask me, and I would be glad to answer your questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So now I request the participants, if they have any questions, they can directly ask to Professor Roger Ray.
I would love to answer your questions if I know the answer.
So, excuse me, sir. This is Shurajit from the participants end.
Yes.
Sir, as you very correctly mentioned that education sector is not for earning, but it generates the human values. So its perspective should be different than at present whatever the motive we are getting might be. So how to address such situations, sir? Means if these things are actually happening, then how could we address it in a broader sense? Means
yes, this is a very good question, Shurajit. In fact, in my opinion, in the country today, at least there should be, I mean, those who are, because we have got today our population, our, standard of living has substantially increased. Now, those who are in the upper strata of the society, that means that those of us who can afford, today say, I can afford to spend more money for my son or daughter. Okay, you can afford. But then there are a large number of people who cannot afford. Now, those who cannot afford, for them it should be free. In my opinion, that the government should ensure in any country for development, they must spend much, much more in education. For example, in fact, in this report only they have said that India spends possibly the lowest amount of their budget in terms of GDP in research. So we have to spend more money. There is absolutely no way out you can go. So spending money is the first thing, and only spending money again does not help, because ours is not a country where, thousands of such people from, for example, in IITs or in JEs, there are so many rural people, they just cannot even think about sitting for the exam. That is simply because that they know that they will have to, spend a lot of money from their pockets. So government has to take care of such students. And so that is, now government, they give scholarships, no doubt about this, to those who are, these SC, ST, minority. There are different classes, categories of scholarships, but then those who are economically backward, all of them, they should be given scholarships. So that, and those who can afford, okay, for them, there's no problem. So everything cannot be done. And education has to be productive. For example, when the government is spending, it is also our responsibility to see to it that whatever we develop, okay, so it should be productive. Whatever we teach, it should be productive. So it's not that only government should do, the policy should give, but the whole idea in the entire policy should be that to make education productive. There's no other way. Because, you spend huge amount of money in ensuring that ethics and political science is taught in a better way. But in my opinion, it is much more important that the whole area should be known as, you have to spend money for making education productive. A very good thing of this policy is that they have given more stress on vocational education. Because finally, I must conclude that this is a very good policy. Not that since time is less, I, mentioned about some of the things which in my opinion are slightly, they need to be reformed, because usually nobody talks in the negative sense. It is not in the negative sense that I would like to talk. But then you will hardly find anybody. Everybody will say that, okay, these are great, the best points. But a country, they must find out that, okay, what are the fallacies and how we should really take care of the country's education. Like say in many countries, if you just see the history of many such countries, again, everything cannot be free. Suppose a good point is about the alumni supporting the cause of an institute. Especially the older institutes, their alumni, they must support the cause of the education of those universities. They can start, some good laboratories. And since education, especially the technological educations, the technology is changing at a very fast pace. So naturally, the government will have to keep on spending more money in that. And that's very important. For example, one of the things is here, say, Ranjan is in mechanical department, our dean here. Now, you are now mechanical engineering head. and din. Now, for example, in the olden days, our cars which were based on the IC engines, today the entire automobile sector, they are going for a new kind of technology which is electric car. So the country must produce enough number of manpower. Now in electric car, the major problem is the battery. So they must produce enough number of students who can, number one, develop the different types of batteries, and not only, the lithium ion batteries, but then there should be a lot of research that can we go for, because lithium ion is, China has almost made them their own, monopoly. Can India think about other kinds, for example, zinc or tin or whatever it may be? So we need more research in that area. Battery technology is very important. We need more, a laboratory which can really take care of not only just the battery, but then how to make use of renewable energy in the car design, the entire thing of the materials using nanotechnology, which will be useful as the car's, whole body. So electric cars, they are extremely important in the vehicular technology. So we need to give more stress on that, and we need to change ourselves, and there should be constant change in the curriculum also on our part. On the part of the teachers, when we say that, okay, the government should spend more money, that means that we, the teachers, will have more responsibility in ensuring what we are teaching to the students and how our laboratories will be, gradually changed. So this is a very big thing, very big, sort of, lot of discussions are needed about the change of syllabi. I fully agree with some of the points which this policy talks about, like say, tomorrow's technology will definitely make use of AI and machine learning. In fact, since I'm working in this area, and then I know that what is its potential. There is absolutely no area where this machine learning will not be used, whether it's in business, in manufacturing sector, in service sector, almost in all the environments. For example, even a human, autopilot mode, if you want to design a car, okay, so it's an autonomous car, then it has to be trained and completely trained with large number of such samples, and then you need AI and machine learning out there. The 3D printing. 3D printing has become now today so important. I do not know whether all the institutes can afford to buy 3D printers. But then there should be at least, 8 to 10 3D printers where the students can come. They can play with them. That's what the country needs. And, prices in the international level are coming down. So our students, they have to be given all the infrastructure, all the facilities so that we can make a great institution. And again, for that, you need money.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. So thank you again. So all the participants, our next session will start at 3:30 p.m. with Professor P.K. Jain, Director, NIT Patna. So all are requested to join sharp at 3:25. So thank you, sir.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
So if there's any other question, you can ask me if you feel. Otherwise, I can leave.
Okay, sir.
But again, concluding remarks is only two. One is that this is a great policy document which the Kasturi Rangan Committee has done. It has got lots of positive points. Is number one. Number 2 is very nice seeing you. So maybe we'll meet sometime.
Sure,
again.
sir. I think this epidemic is going to over very soon. So
Yeah,
certainly we'll meet.
exactly. Okay, all the best.
Good afternoon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. And Ranjan, I'm leaving.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jain, sir, we will meet at 3:30, sir. Your mic is muted, sir.
Okay, I will join you at 3:30.
Okay, sir.
I was just making a call that system is working.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, no problem. Okay. Thank you.